Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Peter Liu, Real Wheel Deal. And if you're a Honda fan, today's your lucky day because my friends over at Mida Motorsports sent me their new wheel, the Mida O2, and now we're gonna do a deep dive and review in it, okay? So if you've been living under a rock, you may not have known, but in the recent years, lots of Honda models have been increasing in value. So we're talking about the NSX, S2000, and Integra. Those have been skyrocketing on auction sites. If you're looking for one, like when I was looking for my S2000, prices were going crazy. And not only that, but it actually extends out to other models now. So I'm noticing other models of Hondas are now also skyrocketing in price. So that means the Temple of VTEC worship going super strong. A lot of people who really grew up with these cars, they're now going after them and they're starting to fetch a lot of big money. So with this happening, there's been a fork in the road. Back then, Hondas were cheaper, you can modify them, but now they're appreciating in value. So we actually have two groups of people. One group of people still doing what they're doing, still modifying, still doing everything they can, racing them. But there's actually a new group of people emerging lately. And you're like the collectors and people who are trying to keep the cars new and authentic. And that's kind of where Mida Motorsports comes in. So if you don't know about Mida Motorsports, they're based out of Japan. You might have heard another division of them. It's called the NSX shop. This is Mida. They specialize in selling parts for the Integra, S2000, and NSX currently. I think they might be expanding more. And they actually have two things that they do. First thing is they're selling OEM parts and replacement parts. But another thing that they've been doing recently is they've been re-engineering some of the Honda parts that have been discontinued for these vehicles. So if you're looking for a part that Honda no longer makes an assembly line, there's a chance that Mida is working with Honda engineers or past engineers to actually reproduce that part. And a lot of times this reproduced part is better or superior than the OEM part and made exactly to fit. So their journey is that they're trying to keep these vehicles on the road longer, supply all the parts we need to keep our vehicles up to date, and also they've been trying to enjoy them and preserve them just as we are. The next thing they've been doing is they've been reproducing a lot of Honda OEM wheels, but in modern day specs. So you might have known in the 90s, early 2000s, they're not really getting flush fitments. They're actually being pretty conservative with their wheel fitment. So a lot of the OEM wheels, they're actually skyrocketing in price. But even if you acquire a set of these and you put them on your car, you're that group of people who's keeping your S2000 kind of like OEM-plus or NSX kind of OEM looking, making a small improvement to it without having irreversible changes. Because Mida has gone through and they've taken a lot of the Honda OEM designs, improved on the wheel, and also made them a lot wider to fit our modern widths and our modern tire sizes. So that's been going really good. So Mida is making wheels in two series. They have one that's a modern series and a second is a heritage series. The modern series, they're actually taking some cues from the new NSX, the NC1, and they're doing a Y-spoke shape design. So that Y-spoke that they're doing on the NC1, they've actually started reproducing them in a fitment that fits S2000s and also Civic Type R. So that means you kind of want an OEM look wheel that you knew Honda produced, but you're kind of going back into their older cars. That's the solution. They also make that Y wheel in a magnesium, so that's gonna be really light, really unique. And the other wheel that they're offering in the modern line is a 7S5 and a 7S6, which is based off their Mida 7S. And the Mida 7S is actually the 7-spoke NSX wheel that was produced between 1994 to 2001. And what Mida has done is they've removed one spoke for the 6 and another spoke for the 5. And that's their modern interpretation of the NSX wheel made to fit modern vehicles. The second lineup is called the Heritage Series, and Heritage Series is more like an homage to their OEM style wheels. And some of the popular ones they've done is called the Mida S. So that's based off the Alex Zanardi wheel or the Acura NSX Type S wheel, which was originally forged by BBS. Those wheels are really hard to get, so they reproduced them in wider width. The other wheel is the Mida 7S, which I discussed is what they use kind of for the modern one. But the 7S is actually just a reproduction of the 94 to 01 NSX 7-spoke wheel, but they've also again improved the widths of that one. And for the S2000 guys, I really want to look for the S2000 look. They did the S2000 AP2 version 1 wheel in wider widths, but they've also done the AP2 version 3 in wider width, which is kind of like the 08-09 wheel, and also the CR is this 5-spoke wheel. So I'll put a picture of it up here. And one of their most important heritage wheels is this one that I have here, the one that they chose to send me, is the Mida O2 wheel. And the Mida O2 wheel homage to the NSX wheel, which was produced in 02 to 05, but they did it in wider width. And that's kind of like one of the most desirable NSX wheels. Even in the market right when they came out, a lot of guys with older NSXs, anything from a 91 up to an 01, they were trying to get this wheel to put on their cars. So that's kind of like the wheel that I think people really liked on the NSX, thought was very fitting. So it's really nice that Mida reproduced this wheel in like a wider width. And that original wheel was actually machine forged and then machine cleaned. So this is also the same as the Mida wheels. So Mida wheels, what I really like about them is they make the same wheel, but they also make sure it's better and not compromised versus the OEM one. So this wheel that I have here from Mida is actually made of 6061 aluminum, just like a lot of wheels that we carry at the shop. And it's also made of blank that's forged of 10,000 tons, and they use machine forging. So it starts with a 10,000 ton forged blank and it's machined up. So at 10,000 tons, that's really high forge standards. And I think that also saves it a ton of weight. So not only is the wheel improved in width, which brings up to a modern standard, but technology and the forging method they use also brings it up to the modern standard. So overall, it's an improvement from the original one. And also because you can buy brand new from them, you're not having to look for a used set at astronomical prices. You can get theirs and get the same look for a wider width, better tire, better contact patch, and also stronger. Additionally, what's great is they're forged to the same standards. So there's actually certifications, JWLVIA. These wheels are certified just as all the other wheels that we normally sell at the shop. And of course, because they're trying to achieve their OEM classic look, the center here is made to fit either Mida center cap, which you can order from them, or what I have here, it's an OEM Honda center cap. So it's bored out just to fit the OEM caps, which is really nice. And another thing is the back here, the hub, is exactly the same as for NSX and S2000 if you're ordering those sets. So the front 70.1 and the rear 64.1. So those are the OEM hub bores. So that means it's already like a hub centric wheel right when you mount on their exact OEM fitment. If you're ordering a set of these from them, you can specify any of the 4 colors they have. So of course they have your classic championship white. Then they have a quantum gray metallic. They also have Washi gray, which is the one I have here. And they have an acai silver, which is like a BMW color that they also have. So depending on which set you order, you can also get different colors. Size-wise, this wheel is offered in NSX S2000 sizing and staggered. And for square setup, they're actually offered in Integra and a new FK8 sizing as well. So NSX size, the front is going to be a 17 by 7.5 plus 40, and the rear is going to be a 17 by 9 plus 40. So that means the front of this one would actually be 10 millimeters further out in offset, but the width remains the same because it's kind of tight in the NSX in the front. And then the rear would be an 18 by 9 plus 36. So that means it would be 1 inch bigger in diameter. The width is the same by 9, but an offset of plus 36 pushes out about 20 millimeters from plus 56 to plus 36. So that size is specifically for the NSX. You can go to their charts on their website to look up what specs they have for the S2000, Integra, and FK8 if you chose to take this wheel that route. So now that we talked about the options of sizing and the options of colors, we're gonna dive into the special features of the wheel. So to start a deep dive, I just want to show you guys the face. Obviously it resembles the OEM wheel, and it has these 7 spokes, side cut out in the middle here. Really nice, really fluid. And then the inside here, got really big lug holes, so you know, not gonna be scratching or damaging. But I like kind of how it brushes in, really nice and sleek, especially here when it meets the lip. On the edges here is really nice and sleek, molded really well. So there's a change that they did versus the OEM wheel. Strictly here it says forged. So this right away tells you that it's a forged wheel, so that's something special that they've added as well. And another difference that they made versus and improved on from the OEM wheel is we turn to its side. You see this barrel here, it actually has a really good barrel fitment. So this barrel is really wide here. It doesn't kind of slope in or slope out. It's about as thick as it can be right around here. What this offers is really good brake clearance. So if you ever decide to upgrade brakes and stuff, I think you have a better chance of clearing on this wheel than the OEM wheel. And another really big improvement it did was this tire knurling. So tire knurling in the front and back, you can see these are all cut in across here. Obviously the stock OEM wheels, they used to not do that, but in our modern standard, this is a standard that they're doing now, making sure that you can improve the tire grip against the wheel. And now we're gonna turn our attention to the back, and the back you can see there's some really good machining. So inside of here, they machine this pocket out really deep. This is what if you're running spacers or something in another application, that can go all the way back here. And also in the back here, they machine a ton off the bore. In the back here, you see how the center cap fits, it still fits perfect. Inside of here, no fuss, just flatten the spokes in the back. But you can really see here, this machine in the back, they've tried really hard to machine it really nicely. The thing I also like is that there's a little pocket here, so it's not all flat around. And what happens is I've been hearing that a lot of new wheel companies, when they do this, it allows the heat to escape when the rotor is directly on it, which also aids in cooling the brakes and also cooling the wheel, because in the end, your wheel's a heat sink against the rotor. So this is a nice improvement. And I think this is something that is more modern than kind of the OEM wheel. I think I really want to emphasize that's really unique with Mida is inside of here, they actually do an engraved cutting. So this is kind of lasered in. I feel like if you change the color, it might disappear, but I know a lot of wheel manufacturers, they normally use like stickers or decals, but here is actually machine laser cut in here. It's got Mida LLC, has the Mida logo, tells you exactly the specs on there. So this is a 17 by 7.5 plus 45. And because this is the front wheel, I said a hub bore 70.1. So they also put the hub bore there. So you know this is hub centric to the NSX 5 by 114.3. Max load rating 690 kilograms, which is excellent and the standard for a wheel this size in our industry. All right, so being a real wheel deal, next we gotta do is weigh it off. Luckily for you guys, I've actually taken a bit more time to make this video because I've actually assembled a small collection of OEM wheels to weigh off against the Mida wheel. So first I'm gonna weigh off the Mida wheel. So here we go, 17 by 7.5 plus 40 going on here. And this wheel weighs 16.4 pounds. 16.4 pounds, I already can tell it's really light. And also I picked up the other wheels. So this is gonna be one of the lighter ones in this size, 17 by 7.5. So next one I have up here, AP2 V2 wheel. This is a 17 by 7 wheel. So this is actually half an inch skinnier than the NSX wheel that I just weighed off. And this guy's a heavy boy. This guy's 19.8 pounds. So that wheel already being half an inch wider is already significantly lighter than this OEM S2000 wheel. And this is the front wheel. This isn't even the heavier S2000 wheel because the back one is actually wider. So next I got the NSX wheel. This is the rear one. So this one is heavier. And why I chose to have the NSX wheel here is because actually the original NSX 5 spokes that they did between 91 and 93, those are actually the lightest NSX wheels across all the years of NSXs. So this guy is 16 by 8 inches. 18.8 pounds. And just to be like transparent with you guys, this one's really dirty, so it might have a couple grams of extra weight on it just from dirt. So this is an inch smaller, but it's about half an inch wider, weighing in at 18.8 pounds. And the last one I have here is the small boy. This is a 15 inch by 6.5 inch width. This is the NSX front. So I really doubt the Mida wheel is gonna be lighter than this one because that'd be really impressive. The Mida was 17 by 7.5. This is 15 by 6.5, 2 inches smaller, 1 inch narrower. And now let's get on. 15.2 pounds. So actually the Mida wheel gets really close to this weight. I think the Mida wheel is about a pound heavier. It's so much larger in diameter and width. So that means like the Mida wheel, really impressive. So the Mida wheel at 16.4 pounds, only 1.2 pounds heavier than the NSX OEM front wheel on the lightest specs. If you're looking at the later wheels, like the OEM NSX V2 or the OEM NSX V3, this wheel is significantly lighter. Based on online spec sheets, the wheel that this is trying to replicate in a newer fashion is actually 17 by 7 at 17.35 pounds. So this one being at 16.4 pounds is wider than by half an inch, but it's over a pound lighter. So that's a really impressive work from Mida. You can tell that they really put some thought and some new technology into the forging process to make sure that if you were trying to acquire their set of wheels for your NSX, S2000 or whatever build, it was actually looking like the OEM wheel, but it was wider, but they made sure it wasn't heavier. So that's a huge accomplishment on the Mida wheel. All right guys, so that concludes my in-depth review of the Mida O2 wheel. And if you're considering this wheel or other Mida wheels, well, make sure to go talk to them. I know they're really easy to chat with. And if you have any questions or you want to do something custom color, size, do a wide variety. I also heard that some of the options they're doing, you can actually have a custom order set from them so you can fit your needs exactly, and you can probably get it machined out exactly to the specs that you want. So big shout out to Mida. They didn't pay me or anything for this video. It's just a really cool product, and they sent me the wheel just to review, and I'm not keeping it or anything. I'm going to send it right back to them after. Big shout out to them for not only giving me the wheel to try and review and take a look at some of the new things that are on the market, put a lot of work to make reproductive edition parts for the cars that are like a dying breed. It's a lot of commitment. So big kudos to them for keeping our Honda dreams alive and making the parts that we need to keep these guys running on the road. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit subscribe. Comment below, let me know what you think about the Mida wheel, and let me know if you're considering them for your build, if you're, an OEM plus guy. Sound good? Chat with you guys later. Thanks.